Hey there, it's Rachel Mullins, the host of Hashtag No Filter Fridays on Public House Media.
This is Sam Kirby, host of Cinema Stories here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Cinema Stories, where we hang out and just talk movie and TV news and reviews, and it's awesome. A new show comes out every single Tuesday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Cinema Stories. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Last time on the Greg and Dave Show. Nå vet vi vad det här.
It's time for the Greg and Dave Show.
Give it a proper name and we'll work it. Give it a stupid name and it can stay at the shipyard.
Featuring Greg Wattsnyder.
I sound like a dead horse.
And David Bobke.
I glued my head inside a toilet.
Bravely bringing you the stories of the strange.
And she had a spasmodic contraction of her hand.
As soon as we get the flux capacitor up and running again, we're going to make that happen.
Dave, so I have to stop you here.
Now sit back and enjoy the show.
That is my least favorite thing to do.
Hello and welcome to another great episode of the Greg and Dave Show on Public House Media. I am the Greg.
And I am Dave Show.
Are you? Are you really Dave Show?
I am Dave Show, and I'm also playing the role of Mrs. Bale today because we have a record broken today, the Greg. Mrs. Bale is not in studio today.
Mrs. Bale is not in studio. Did she tell you, like, is this an excused absence or an unexcused absence? Or
I was simply told that Mrs. Bale is on assignment.
Oh.
And on assignment, of course, in TV and radio means somewhere that's not here and bug her off because we're not telling you where she is.
Right. Okay.
So I'm trying to operate Mrs. Bale's board today. So I'm sitting in a different place. I have no idea how this thing works. It's just going to be a mess.
Just don't touch the red button. That's what I've heard.
That's the problem. There's 3 red buttons here.
Well, hey, we've got a wonderful show for you today if Dave doesn't touch the wrong red button. Here on, what's the website, Dave Show?
On thphmedia.com or thefmedia?
thefmedia.com. Yep. So thank you for checking us out there or wherever you're checking us out. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Actually, I guess iTunes is called Apple Podcasts now. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, iTunes. Sorry, Apple, if I've given you the wrong credit for this. But anyway, you can also check out our Facebook page, which we'll tell you more about in a little bit, called The Greg and Dave Show.
Indeed.
Simply Greg. It's spelled with 3 G's.
Yeah.
And we have a store. So we have, actually, we'll just tell you about it now. We have a store. So we have merch, Dave.
Yeah, we
How
do.
cool is that? We have merch.
We got merch with our logo on it. Thankfully, not our faces. So
Right.
I feel like
Right.
we would not only not get sales if that were the case, we would actually lose sales somehow. We would sell negative merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
If our mugs were on let's say a mug, for example. But
Mm-hmm.
that's an idea. Let's put our faces on either side of a mug so if somebody puts it down on a table and they're like, oh, I don't want to see that guy's face, and they turn it around and they see the other person's face, and then they just get horrified by the other one and they take it and throw it against a wall and then have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's something about Mrs. Bale's chair that's putting me in a really weird state of mind right now. This is like cursed or something.
Yes.
But yes, we have a store, as you were saying.
We have a store. We have hoodies. We have tank tops. We have shirts. We have, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff here. Folks can go to pubhousemedia.storeenvy.com. That's pub, as in short for public, and then housemedia.storeenvy, and that's one word, one E. So they blended the 2 words together. It's very clever. It shortens things up. And then
Okay.
pubhousemedia.storeenvy.com. And if you scroll to the bottom on the left side, it's got the Greg and Dave Show, and by golly, there we are. There's a unisex tank top, and there's an iPhone case, and stuff like that with our logo on it. It's very exciting.
That is awesome. That's great.
Ooh.
Today we're talking about many different sorts of world records, But before we do that, Dave Show, one tradition that Dave Show and I have every year is watching either together or just maybe commenting on social media about it, the Scripps National Spelling.
What happened to Howard again?
Howard. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Howard.
He got bumped off, I guess.
Howard. Yeah.
The Great Spelling Bee War of 2007.
Yeah. I don't know. Scripps, of course, owns many TV and radio stations, including ones in Milwaukee where Dave Show and I reside. So this year's Spelling Bee, every year there are some funny moments to the Spelling Bee, and all I'm going to say is you need to go and YouTube Spelling Bee funny moments, because the funny moments are some of the best moments of the Spelling Bee, because otherwise I don't know half the words that these people are spelling. I would not do well for some reason, Dave Show, I did well in spelling tests in school. I would not do well in a spelling bee.
Yeah, me neither. I'm in the same boat. I did fine in spelling bees.
Spell Oconomowoc. By the way, I will give anyone not from Wisconsin, I will give you major props if you can spell the word Oconomowoc. Post your best spellings on our Facebook show page without looking it up, without Googling, of course. Because in the spelling bee, that's the one rule. Kids aren't up there with their phones trying to Google the words. Anyway, you know, I wouldn't do well in spelling bees, but you know what I do well at, Dave Show?
What's that, the Greg?
Eating waffles.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I personally, though, I have to say, our next story is about waffles, which is why we're waffling into this conversation. Get it? Waffles. Well, let me ask you first, Dave Show. Between waffles, French toast, and pancakes, what's your breakfast dish du jour?
Oh, man. I had my answer, and then you threw French toast into the mix. Now I got to think about it. I will say I'm more of a waffle than a pancake guy.
Okay.
I'd probably go French toast over the waffle most of the time. How about you?
Okay. I myself am a pancake guy. I don't know. The waffles, just something about the texture of the waffles and French toast. I mean, it's basically just like toast, right? Why even call it French? It's pretty much just like toast and
I could be mistaken here, but I believe the proper way to eat French toast is you're supposed to French kiss the toast.
Oh, well, that's very interesting as well.
Am I wrong? Tell us on our Facebook page if I am.
Why don't we go into our first story, Dave Show?
I don't know what it is about this chair. Anyway, the first story comes to us from the Denver Post, denverpost.com, and it is titled, World's Tallest Waffle Stack Teeters in a Denver Backyard. Official word from Guinness World Records is pending, but the waffles did measure at 67 centimeters, beating the previous record of 51 centimeters. And here's a quick fun fact, another quick aside, because we're only like 3 minutes into the show and we've had 57 asides already. Did you know, the Greg,
yes,
that at my local pick and save, I was an Oreo stacking champion?
Really?
I was. I was about 12 or 13 when I did that. Stacked, I believe it was... what was it, 18 Oreos in 30 seconds, I think, something like that. Which doesn't sound like that much, but you try doing it in 30 seconds sometimes. See how you do.
Right. Now, one thing I'm really good at is eating tacos. I once had, this was over at a friend's house for Christmas, and I tried to outdo a friend. I once had 14 or 15 tacos. I think the friend had like 13 or 14 tacos. So I outdid him he outdid me. I should say, reverse the story. He outdid me by one taco.
Man, I am so hungry right now.
Me too.
Holy cow. I once ate a burrito as big as my head.
Yeah, there's a restaurant with that name, isn't there?
I don't know, there might be. We're going to have to check this out tomorrow or something. Anyways, waffles. Yes, waffles. They have a picture here of Justin Hoagland in the challenge of breaking the world record. The Denver Collective Assembly broke the world record for tallest stack of waffles. Judges took a 3D model of the stack and used lasers to measure. This is a major deal here. They're using lasers to make sure that this is an actual world record. The previous Guinness World Record stood or perhaps still stands, don't know if it's been confirmed yet, was at 51 centimeters. So they're going way above and beyond.
Wow. How much was this one? 60 something?
It was 67 centimeters.
Wow.
So it seems that the world record has been broken in some guy's backyard in Denver. Spencer McCullough, a 23-year-old waffle wunderkind, had 50 pounds of waffle mix, 2 waffle irons, and a dream. You just knew they had to end the sentence with "and a dream" because they always have to end a sentence with that.
Okay, why in his backyard, though?
Well, I guess he had enough room back there, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, I'll pose the question. Since you asked the Greg, if you were going to try to break the Guinness World Record for largest stack of waffles, and you have all this waffle batter at home, where would you want to do it?
I don't know. I'd rather eat the waffles than stack them, personally.
Fair point.
I mean, if stacking them meant eating them afterwards, I'd gladly do it, but I wouldn't. Then you have to preserve the record somehow, right? You know, and I'm guessing Guinness has to come out and verify it. Like, I'm guessing it's one of these things. Like, I don't know how Guinness Records works, but I'm guessing a photo will do. Like, I'm guessing it has to be verified somehow, right?
Well, with lasers, clearly.
With lasers, okay.
Bring lasers and point them at the waffles as you do. I have no idea. Anyway, the 23-year-old waffle wunderkind, his breakfast food fantasy was realized when, after hours of mixing, pouring, ironing, and hardening in the oven, he produced a column of waffles that stood 67 centimeters, which is about 26 inches for those of us who kind of give a, nuts to you signal to the metric system. Not fans of that here at the Greg and Dave Show.
No,
not at all. Mrs. Bale would go on such a tizzy if she knew about the metric system here.
Yes.
Heard anything about the metric system, I should say. The media's first inkling that McCullough and Company's waffle stacking production was a genuine grassroots movement came upon arriving at McCullough's home and seeing a piece of paper taped to the front door that read, "Waffle World Record Attempt Around Back." This sounds like what they would do in my neighborhood if they were trying to do this.
Yeah, just post anything and then around back.
Yeah, and it's like they've just got a regular old lined piece of paper here, turned sideways, and just wrote it in regular pen. So they didn't use magic marker or anything. It's just like you have to actually get up close to the thing to be able to read it. It's clearly they put no effort into the sign. I will give them an A for effort on the waffle stacking. I will give them a D- at best on the sign. It is not a good sign.
Hey, we should make a sign for our show one time. The Greg and Dave Show, around back. Don't know what that means.
I was going to say I like the idea. I'm just not sure where around back would be at the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bale doesn't like much that's put behind her.
No. We barely got... I think we're getting walls knocked down here at some point. I was specifically told there are a couple buttons on here I'm not supposed to touch because we could lose a wall. So we'll see if I manage to not destroy the studio. Nonetheless,
at least we have a ceiling fan.
Yes, ceiling fan there is working, thankfully. Also working was Denver land surveyor Dustin Hoagland, hanging next to his expensive 3D laser scanner. McCullough heralded Hoagland as a true hero for taking time out of his Memorial Day weekend to measure the waffle stack so it could become Guinness official. And he says here, when I started calling around asking land surveyors to do this, I got a lot of laughs. People were like, I have to do real work. But here we are. This feels so much like my neighborhood the more I read of this.
Well, it is Denver, Colorado, right?
It is.
You know what people do there, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It says here, Steve Garguilo? No idea. Broiled the cooked waffles to harden them into Jenga-like breakfast bricks. So right there, interesting that they're tweaking the texture of the waffle a little bit to make this work. As here, this man lives in Texas, but received a text message from McCullough, a friend in college, asking whether he'd like to be involved in a record-breaking mission involving waffles. He got on a plane with the plan to be the best waffle stacker in the land. Quote, I said the next time you send me a text like this, don't phrase it as a question. Phrase it as a statement. Say, I'm setting a world record stacking waffles, and you're coming. There you go.
See, that's how I usually invite people to stuff. Like, I'm at this so-and-so coffee shop in Waukesha, and you're coming. It works really well.
Sometimes.
I mean, nobody comes, but,
Well, yeah. Outside of the whole point, it works perfectly.
Right.
Absolutely. I'm out of Mountain Dew already. This is all going sideways.
Yes.
It's all going downhill, the Greg.
Yes, it is. Luckily, the waffles didn't do that. And luckily, there's a little cheese rolling going on.
Indeed, there is the Greg. Segway game is still on here. We don't need Mrs. Bale for that.
Yeah. Wisconsin, Dave and I have a fondness for cheese. Dave Show, I should say. Yeah. Dave Show and I have a fondness for cheese.
Gotta love the cheese, man.
Cheese of all varieties, too. Dave Show, is there any cheese that you don't like?
Oh, gosh. Like a really true, honest-to-goodness blue cheese might not be my thing. Not great.
Yeah.
But, I like the fake blue cheese stuff. I love that stuff, but... you get that like real legitimate, honest to goodness blue cheese. It's a bit strong for me.
Yeah. Hey, we're cheese twins because I don't like real strong blue cheese, and I'm not big on feta either.
Oh, dude, high five. Okay, you know what? We'll do that later.
Yeah.
We're a bit far away at the moment. Anyway, our next story comes from the BBC, one of our favorite sources of all time, or at least mine. I don't know. It says here, Gloucester cheese rolling veteran breaks all-time record. Well, do we got records for you, folks? We weren't talking about stuff you put on a turntable.
Right. No vinyl here.
Vinyl-free zone. Hashtag that. A champion cheese roller has broken the all-time record for most cheeses won in Gloucestershire's death-defying races. That is a title neither of us will ever have, the Greg. Chris Anderson has now taken home a total of 22 double Gloucester cheeses in 14 years after chasing the hefty 8-pound cheeses down Cooper's Hill. The 30-year-old broke the record held by Stephen Guide after winning the first of this year's men's downhill races. Mr. Anderson said, quote, "I've got nothing to prove now. I'm happy."
How much effort do you think it takes, Dave Show, to run after cheese? I mean, how fast can cheese roll?
Well, the Greg, I'm glad you asked, because they have a variety of pictures here, the second of which features people rolling down a hill, and it doesn't look like it's a terribly steep hill, not a terribly dangerous one, but one that could become rather dangerous if you try to run down it. It says here, Chris Anderson has suffered a broken ankle, quote, quite bad concussion, end quote, and bruised kidneys over the 14 years he has competed. This gets a bit nutty.
Now, is that because of chasing the cheese or eating it once he's actually found it? Because both of those things, I mean, lactose intolerance, it's a thing, man.
It sure is. And those cheeses, man, if they're not quite ripe, they're going to fight back in a nasty way. Boy, the stories I could tell you of cheese gangs in my neighborhood. Nonetheless, it says also, heavy rain over the past few days made the steep hill very wet and muddy both for competitors and the thousands of spectators who had turned out to watch.
Okay, then he's not eating the cheese, hopefully, because if the cheese is muddy, who wants to eat muddy cheese?
I'm hoping it was at least wrapped in something, but...
Right.
Yeah. As thousands of spectators turned out to watch thrill seekers hurl themselves down the 1-to-2 gradient. It's got like 1:2, so I'm assuming that's some sort of a measurement that I'm not familiar with. But yes, chasing wheels of double Gloucester cheese. Mm-hmm. In the first men's downhill race, Mr. Anderson left other daredevils trailing in his wake as he sprinted, tripped, and tumbled down the rough, uneven hillside chasing the 70-mile-per-hour cheese. That is fast cheese. I mean, I've heard cheese can go through you like a thing, but...
Yeah.
Gosh. And then, just to touch on a little bit more here, a soldier with 1 rifles, which I'm assuming is a group of some sort, Mr. Anderson skipped the second men's race, but won again in the third race, tearing his left calf as he charged downhill. And his reward, as with all winners, is to take the cheeses home with him, despite only liking cheddar. So there you go. It's also described as the most exhilarating thing you can do, and I find that very interesting. The Greg, do you think you would rather try to run down a hill after cheeses, or would you rather do the running of the bulls?
You know, thinking about that both those things just makes me think about doing too much physical activity, which makes me want to take a commercial break.
Okay, well,
I need a nap.
We will go to commercial break if I can figure out which button. Let me try this one.
Oh, good
Yep.
for you.
Okay, that was the wrong button. That's for later in the show. Dang it. Hang on. Let's try this one.
Hey, Gordon!
Oh, crap! Oh, there was one of the walls.
Bringing you fun.
Oh, dang it. All right.
Just on the run, get a big.
Here's where Wumpus comes for fun and enjoyment.
It's the Greg and Dave Show.
Hi, this is Emily.
This is Lindsay.
And this is Elizabeth,
co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Once you are done with this episode, we hope you'll come check out our show, Beauties and Headcanons, where we talk nerdy to you about fandoms, fan fiction, and all pop culture for nerds that you can think of. A new show comes out every Friday.
Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
You're listening to the Greg and Dave Show.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
I think we're back.
Oh my gosh, are we back already? We're
I don't
back.
know how am I going to explain this wall to Mrs. Bale?
I don't know. I don't know, man. This show's going right down the toilet.
Dude. Oh, you ain't kidding. If only we knew where we could go to find, like, some toilet paper. Preferably in the shape of a pyramid, which is my favorite shape. Oh, wait! Our third story deals with such a thing. So lucky how this works out every week. Anyway, from the Post Crescent, which I believe is Appleton, Wisconsin, the Greg.
It's not the Post Croissant, it's the Post Crescent.
Yes, given our theme, you would think it would be the Post Croissant, but no, this one, not even the Post Croissantwich. Thank you, Burger King, for whatever that thing is. Is from postcrescent.com. It says here, Meyer, Kimberly Clark, partner for tallest toilet paper pyramid ever, because that, of course, is a thing.
Of course it is.
Why not?
Millions of people are waiting for toilet paper. They just need to do their thing, and yet these companies are hogging it all, trying to break a record.
We could feed so many people with... wait, no. Meyer and Kimberly Clark worked together Wednesday and Thursday at the new Meyer store in Grand Chute to build a bath tissue pyramid that set a new mark for the Guinness World Records.
I have a friend that lives in Grand Chute. Clara Clifford is her name. Shout out to you, Clara, if you're listening to the show.
Shout out to Clara as the video plays on my monitor here of the toilet paper pyramid being assembled. And what I find interesting is you got people up toward the top of the pyramid. There's one guy who's kind of right in the middle building up the point. And I was just wondering, how the heck is he supposed to get down? Mm-hmm. I guess he could just climb down. But, yeah, I guess that's some sturdy toilet paper from the looks of it. So
Yeah. Well, you have to... That's probably the 2-ply stuff. You can't just have 1-ply.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely got to be the tough stuff.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering here is, are they broiling the toilet paper to harden them into Jenga-like breakfast bricks, as they did with the waffles? Probably not. Probably not.
You know, what I know is if I eat too many waffles, I'm going to need a lot of that toilet paper.
That's true, and the less said about that, the better.
Or too much of that cheese. Gosh.
Well, it depends on the cheese. Well, anyway, yes. So there's again a time-lapse video here, and these articles should be available on shortly after the show goes up, within the next few days. Should be available facebook.com/Greg Dave Show. We'll post links to these things. Because here, the toilet paper pyramid project helps mark Meyer's arrival in the Fox Cities. New store opened last week. The building of the pyramid took 14 volunteers, 10 hours, stands 14 feet, 3.75 inches tall, and 19 feet, 4 inches wide. And do you want to guess how many rolls of toilet paper it took to build a pyramid that large, the Greg?
I'm going to say 300.
300 is a good guess. It is a very good guess, and you're close. The correct number is 25,585 rolls.
Oh, I was so close.
You were very close. I almost gave it to you.
I was off by 1,000 or 20.
Yes, I thought I should probably give the people the real number just to say
Right.
how close I was. It does say the previous record for stacking toilet paper was 13 feet 5 inches. So they beat it by not quite a foot. That was set in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
In 2012.
So leave it to Meyer, leave it to the U.S. for record-setting toilet paper rolls, pyramids, whatever. How can they make pyramids out of rolls? That's my question.
I don't know. I guess next time you go into the men's room, you just find some toilet paper rolls and try stacking them.
Maybe I'll have to do that.
It'll be a grand old time, I guarantee.
Yeah.
But it just goes to prove Greg, America is more full of crap than the rest of the world.
There you go.
Oh, dang it. I hit the wrong button. It's not supposed to be that one. It's supposed to be almost the end of the show button.
Yeah. Did you just take out another wall?
No, I don't know what. I hit the commercial button is what I hit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're good. Hang on. Okay, we're good.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, we want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Greg and Dave Show on Public House Media. Listen to all the great shows that Public House Media has to offer, including our friends Coffee with Keith and Katie. They will probably not be talking about toilet paper on their next show, but they may be.
You never know with them.
Yeah. What about Emily and
Elizabeth and them at Beauties and Headcanons?
Yeah, will they be talking about toilet paper on?
I doubt it. I know Emily's husband, For Deo Datus, on Twitch is supposed to be going actually tonight, I believe. So I will be checking in on them, and I'll see if they're going to talk toilet paper on their next show.
There you go.
That's a normal thing.
Because on the Greg and Dave Show, we are the only ones on Public House Media who are allowed to have potty mouths.
Yeah.
Right, Baxter? Yep. So,
yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
I'm sorry. Did you want me to hit the drop for Baxter's thing?
Yes, do that.
Okay.
Big Jim Slade.
Oh, crap. There's another wall.
Big Jim, former tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs.
We didn't need you. Oh, jeez. First the Kool-Aid guy, now Jim. Oh gosh. Oh, the walls.
Anyway, we'll try to put our walls back together, and maybe we'll have a stacking contest for who can put our walls back up in this time.
Somebody called Pink Floyd.
There you go. Thanks for listening, you guys.
You've been listening to The Greg and Dave Show. The Greg and Dave Show theme is Take a Chance by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com.